Could you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Could you make sure Dolly calls me because I have something I want to talk to her about?
Sorry, I couldn't get you.
I said, could you have Dolly call me because I have something I want to talk to her about that I think will make her happy.
Sure. I will let her know. We are live on the Facebook.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Hey, everybody. I hope you are doing well. And I am Lynn, also known as Awesome as a Mom. And I have worked with Autism Connect for some time now. And I was super honored to be a speaker at their I Can Dubai, which was literally a life-changing experience for me. And I highly suggest that if you don't follow Autism Connect, you do. So my topic today is about autistic adults in the workplace. For those of you who don't know, I own, with my adult autistic son, Team Awesomism Virtual Academy. We are an online virtual academy community for autistic adults where we help them with life skills, social skills, hard skills, soft skills, fun skills, you name it, we help them with it. And one of our main focuses is on employment for autistic adults. Autistic adults have in the United States, have a 75 to 85% unemployment rate. If you look at that pie, the majority of it is dark. That's who's unemployed. We also have partial employment that is like another 10%, and 15% are fully employed. This is unacceptable. It's not right. And we need to do something on a worldwide basis to change this. So one of the things that we are really working on with the Virtual Academy is to connect small businesses and companies with autistic adults so that companies understand autism better. It's not that they need to be aware of it, it's they have to accept it and understand it more. So one of the things that we did was we asked a lot of autistic adults, what would you really like to see happen in the workplace around employers, be it a 2-man company to a 2 million man company? We got a lot of the same answers. So that shows you that there is solution to a lot of these fixes. One of the things that a lot of them really felt very firmly about was they wanted employers and employees to talk to them. Ask them, do you need maybe a room where you can go if you're starting to feel over anxious and going to feel like you might have a meltdown, or you just need a break? Maybe just go sit for 5 minutes. Talk to them, ask them, is a break room something important to you? Do you need to maybe wear noise reduction headphones? Is dimming the lights, turning the lights down, or maybe like say you're in a cubby hole, say you're working in an office setting, and maybe the light that the company supplies for you as an autistic adult is bothersome to you. Ask them, would you prefer a different light? These are all very easy, simple fixes, okay? Temperature control. Sometimes temperatures can initiate a meltdown or other issues with an autistic adult. Just talk to them. I'm not saying the whole office has to be a hot temperature or a cold temperature, but work with them. It's not that hard to talk to someone. Don't talk at autistic adults. I think one of the biggest issues I see with my son, who is 24 years old, is people talk at him. They act like he doesn't comprehend what they're telling him. He does. He comprehends. He understands. Talk to him. So another thing is put up emergency issues. Like, this is where the fire exit is. Maybe do a fire drill or something, because sometimes I know, like with Peyton, he can worry that if a bad storm is coming, how does he react, or where does he need to go at the office? What does this take? 10, 15 minutes of your time? Guess what? Every single employee needs to know this anyway, because if a fire were to start, you would not want people not to know how to get out of the building properly. We don't tend to do these kind of things in offices or stores or other places that they can work. Another thing is bring in an expert. And guess what? There's a lot of autistic adults who are experts who go around and speak to businesses to help with training. There's Martin Slingard, there's Tom Island. Both of these guys are amazing, and they can help you teach your employees from an autistic perspective, because they're autistic adults. My son does it, and teach you how to talk with autistic adults in the workplace, how to maybe recognize some of the symptoms if they're getting stressed. You know, the other thing too is one thing that I hear is I'm afraid to tell people during the interview that I'm autistic, because they immediately think that an autistic adult, that people will, oh, they're Rain Man, we don't want to hire them. I've seen this happen. I legitimately one day had a woman tell me in front of my son from a senior citizen place that she did not want autistic adults to live there because they couldn't drive, they couldn't cook, they couldn't take care of themselves, and they were not in a full assisted living nursing home. If this wasn't so sad, it would be humorous how out of touch she is as a representative for a senior adult living center. Because not only can many autistic adults drive, but many of them know how to use Uber and Lyft, and they can get back and forth to work, or they have a sibling or a caregiver or a parent who can drive them. And by the way, Elon Musk is autistic and he invented a car. So let's stop with all of the Rain Man analogies. And if you are lucky enough, and yes, I'm using that proper word, lucky enough to have an autistic come to your business to want to work with you, take them up on it. They may need extra training. Guess what? I have general anxiety disorder. There's many times I need extra training. Okay. Things have to go through my head a few times. Okay. That's also where we're at the Virtual Academy are trying to step up. We are working with quite a few businesses now. We will be putting classes to prepare the different in the food industry, in the golf industry, and different industries to help train them ahead of time and teach them a lot, and then they can go. We had a situation where a young man went to work for a nighttime, overnight cleaning service. He was phenomenal. Showed up to work on time. He drives. He cleaned. He didn't lay on the couch like some of the other employees that they had. He didn't backtalk them. He worked hard. You know, there's a lot of industries that should be trying to connect with the autistic adults and hire them in. I was reading an article the other day about how so many people in the workforce now feel it's imperative to switch jobs every couple of years because they go and work for a company and then they want, instead of going to that company for a raise, they feel they can go to another company. So let's just say, for example, that they work in the hotel industry and they're at the front desk. Okay, so this hotel now trains them. They teach them their ways. And now 2 years later, they go to work at a different hotel and then a different hotel every couple of years. That's their prerogative. They have the right to do that. As in a small business owner, I understand that. I understand people want to move on. It's not their business. They're not committed to stay there for life. But guess what? Sometimes this can be a burden on the small business owner or even the large businesses because they're doing all this training, they're investing into them, and then they're leaving. Autistic adults are beautiful for this. They're not necessarily going to go somewhere else because they're going to get into the groove of working there. So let's just say, and this really isn't always true, but let's just say it takes you a week or two longer. You do a 3-week training. It takes 4 or 5 weeks maximum to train the autistic adult, but they're there for 10 years. Train the other non-autistic in the 3 weeks. A year or two later, you're training another for 3 weeks. You're training another for 3 weeks. You're training. Okay. Do you see where I'm going with this? The autistic adults deserve the same respect that we give everyone else. We all have our difficulties. We all have our issues. And I really believe that if more businesses stepped up and understood the struggle that sometimes some of the autistic adults are dealing with, these issues would be avoided. I had a young man that came to me, he had a job, and they would always make him take the garbage out. When he would go in the back, the smell, he would get sensory overload from the smell from the big garbage container. He talked to the people, because he worked in a fast food. He talked to the people that work there, and their response to him was, "We don't care, you have to take the garbage out." He ended up having to quit that job. Took him over 6 months to get another job because what his job was in fast food, and the other places that he went wanted to do the same thing with him. I'm sorry, but it's not that hard for someone else to take that garbage out. He was a great employee. He would mop the floors. He would work the cash register. He did everything they asked of him. The one thing he did not do well with was going out to that garbage can with the overload of smells. A simple, tiny little change and respect from the fellow employees, especially the management. If the management had sat down with him, had a conversation with him, understood this, then sat the other employees in the room and talked to them, this probably all would have been cleared up. Communication, it's called communication. Maybe they're not going to communicate with you as an autistic adult, but why can't you communicate with them? And this is what we're trying very hard. We've been traveling the heartland of America, talking to all kinds of autistic adults, autism families, small businesses, and trying to relay this. It's not as hard as people want to make it out to be. I personally am embarrassed that we have a 75 to 85% unemployment rate among autistic adults. As a society, we should be humiliated that we're allowing this to go on. A few changes make all the difference. Again, it's very easy. Talk to the autistic adults. Stop talking at them. And don't always assume when they come in, if you, let's say you own a local grocery store. I spoke with a man who owned a local grocery store in a small town in Iowa. He works with the high school for the job program. They train them, go through them there. And then they send them over to the grocery store. And you know what I loved about this guy? He didn't assume that the only thing that they could do was stock shelves. Now, if they want to stock shelves, great. There's nothing wrong with it. If we don't have food on our shelves, we can't buy it. Okay? We went through this with COVID where our shelves were bare. We needed people to stock shelves at a much faster rate than we had people. Okay? It's extremely important. But if you assume that that's all they can do and you don't need somebody to stock your shelf, you're not going to get the benefit of having that autistic adult. And I believe very strongly too, that if you hire an autistic adult, you're really, really doing a social good in so many ways. Because let's look at this example. One of my son's best friends works at the coffee shop at our church. We have a beautiful, well, we don't live in Texas anymore, but at the church we went to, beautiful coffee shop. She is so good at her job. She is phenomenal at her job. Okay? She does everything there. By her being at that cash register and speaking to you, all these people are coming in because the community also comes in. It's not just for the church. The community comes in. They're now interacting with her. Not only are they helping her with her life skills, her social skills, her hard skills, her soft skills, everything else, and teaching her a career, but they're learning what autism is. I had someone try to tell me the other day that 99.999% of America doesn't even know about autism. I said, that's not even close to reality, because more than 0.0001% of the population is autistic. Do enough people understand it and accept it? No. But if you take that attitude that you don't have to understand it or learn it, you're never going to be able to help. You're going to be a part of the problem, not a part of the solution. And by her staying there in this coffee shop, all the people that come in, they may be somebody who owns an insurance company, a hairdresser, who knows, okay? They're now connecting with her. They're now seeing an autistic adult in a workplace, and it starts putting into their head, you know what? I should hire an autistic adult. This is how the branches of the tree grow. The trunk starts with you understanding, accepting, and actively working to help autistic adults get into the workplace. Maybe you, as a small business owner, maybe you work from your home as a small business owner, bring an autistic adult in. You can help get them accustomed to working with other people and then send them out there. I like to use this example about why I always say autism acceptance and not autism activism. I mean, autism awareness. If I'm sitting at my desk in my office and I'm looking out the window and an elderly person my age is riding their bike and they fall and they get seriously injured, I now am aware that they're hurt. If I go back to working on my computer and just working, what am I doing? Nothing. I've done nothing for her other than I know she's hurt, right? If I accept that she's very injured and she needs help, I'm going to do something about it. So I'm then actively going to get up and I'm going to go over there. I'm going to call 911. I'm going to make sure she's okay. While I'm on the phone with 911, I'm going to tell them where we're at, and I'm going to get her that help, right? So the awareness is great. I wouldn't have known she was hurt if I wasn't aware she fell. But unless I accept that she has fallen and I actively do something for her, I am not going to be able to fix that problem for her. That's the way we have to view this 75 to 85% unemployment rate. We are aware of it now. We need to make more people aware of it. When I have told people while we've been on our travels, they go, what? That's horrible. Yes. And then I know a lot of people are kind of like, okay, lady, who cares? But I start trying to get them to accept that rate and actively help change it. It doesn't mean that every single business has to run out tomorrow and hire an autistic adult, although I'd love that. But what it does mean is, if you own a small business, maybe you're not hiring anybody, but maybe you know an autistic adult that does a beautiful craft. Like, for example, my son does chalk painting. Okay, maybe you own a small business and you say to him, I'd love to sell your chalk paintings in my store. Or I have a restaurant. I'd love to put them up with your name. And we can put handmade by an autistic adult. This encourages and changes the narrative. Until we accept that we need to do more and go out of our comfort zone to learn to accept and understand autism better, we're not going to change that. It's the minor things that we can change for them. If I am not autistic and I work at a food place and I come in and I have a lot of perfume on, and the people coming in are saying, she wears too much perfume. Okay. You know, not to be mean, but that waitress over there, she's got a lot of perfume on. It kind of, you know, it was almost nauseating for us while we were eating. And we kept smelling it every time she walked past us. It kind of, you know, we didn't have as good of a food experience here. That boss would have zero problem walking over to me and saying, hey, Lynn, why don't you kind of tone down on that perfume a little bit? Right? He would get actively involved to make a change. That same boss needs to make an active change if they have an autistic, of how can I make it easier for you? Because you are missing out by not employing an autistic adult who will be loyal, who will be trustworthy, who will show up for work and do their job. It's not going to hurt your business for them to go sit in a quiet room for 5 minutes. It's not going to hurt your business to maybe dim the lights a little bit or put them in a different area that's not quite as bright, okay? Or maybe turn the music down a little bit. These are all such minor issues, but you're going to get major results. So I really hope that I've inspired you to understand why and how we all need to work together for autistic adults in the workplace, help them overcome some of these issues. If you have a business and you'd like to learn more, I highly suggest that you talk to an autistic adult about how you can make your workplace more autism friendly. TeamAwesomeism.com is always looking to collaborate with people. If you have a small business and you'd like to work with us on doing some training for your business, we are happy to do it. We have full classes. We work with Teachable so that we can make sure that they have a full class learning type experience. We do everything on video so that they can watch it over and over again, run it backwards, stop it, do it at their convenience. They want to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and watch it, that's great. And we can monitor what they're learning. So we can see that they're watching the classes, we can do a test, whatever. We're doing this for several businesses right now. But please, this is not about Team Awesomeism Virtual Academy. This is about helping autistic adults. And the more that we can help them, the less stress it is on them. Okay? It's just like with Uber and Lyft drivers. If you're an Uber and Lyft driver and you get an autistic adult in your car, that doesn't mean you can't converse with them, talk to them. Treat them like a normal human being. This nonsense that so many people have, like I've had people do this to me. They want to ask Peyton something. They talk to me. Peyton's standing right here. Peyton is fully verbal. Peyton built Team Awesomeism Virtual Academy. Peyton writes blogs. He does graphic design. I mean, please stop treating Peyton like he's 6 months old. Because the more that you communicate with autistic adults, the more you understand their world, the more we don't live in separate worlds. So together we truly can do what we need to do. And if you're looking to connect with us or with anyone else that you think could really help train your employees, please. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you. And thank you, Autism Connect, for giving me this opportunity because I'm so passionate about this. I feel so strongly that if we don't start having these conversations, sometimes they're not the easiest conversations. Oh, one more thing before I go. I want to remind everyone of this. It's called the autism spectrum for a reason. It's a spectrum, folks. They're not all Rain Man. They're not all Elon Musk. They are themselves. Because you know what? If you've met one autistic adult, you've met one autistic adult. So let's keep that in mind. Let's really make things better. And I really want to give a major shout out to Autism Connect. When I was in ICANN Dubai, and this always brings me emotional, not only did they pick the right people, 70 people from around the world that were so passionate and compassionate to change the world for autism. I met some of the most amazing people and formed lifelong friendships with some of these people. But I'm going to tell you something. They brought autistic adults in to speak for themselves. Keynote and the closing keynote were both autistic adults. One, everybody knows, Temple Grandin, and the other, everybody knows, Dr. Carrie Magro. And I just found out from one of my very favorite autistic adults, Tom Island, that he's going to be at the next. I'm not going to be able to attend the one in December. It's not in Dubai. It just escaped my head where it's going to be. But I'm not going to be able to because December is a very busy month for us. But Tom Island is amazing. Martin Sleingard is amazing. My son is amazing. His friends are amazing. Get to know them. Employ them. Understand them. And if you work at a business, make it your goal to be that person, to be their friend, because they already come in feeling on the out. My daughter worked in a law firm where one of the lawyers was autistic. Everybody kind of ignored him. She didn't. She changed the entire flavor of the office. The entire dynamic of the office changed because her response was, that could be my brother. If anybody has any questions, I'd love to take them.
Hi, ma'am. We do have a comment on your live. It's by Chris Weekly. He says that you are reading my mind with every point you are making. And we aren't just IT and engineering workers.
Chris is amazing. He is an autistic adult that I've connected with through Twitter. He is out there every single day as an advocate and activist for autistic adults because he's an autistic adult. There's another person you can bring in. Bring Chris in. He can help you. Chris is amazing. And you know, it breaks my heart when I have an autistic adult come to me and say, my boss doesn't understand me. And then I start peeling away the layers of the onion and say, well, what happened? How did it go? And more times than not, I go straight to the employer as well to get their side, because we all know there's your side, their side in the truth. And, you know, it's amazing to me how many times the autistic adult is much closer to that middle truth than the employer. The employer takes, well, they didn't show up to work one day. Did they call you? Well, yeah, they said they were sick. So everyone who calls you that's sick, you fire? Well, no. Okay, well, you know, I just figured because they were, oh, you figured because they were autistic. Okay, got it. You know, this is what I'm talking about. And that's why I stand so firmly on the, please talk to them, not at them. They're not caricatures, folks. They're human beings just like us. Look, I have a list load of issues. I've been diagnosed with PTSD. I've got GAD. I have severe anxiety. You know, just because I'm not autistic, although there's sometimes I've wondered that autistic just, and I'm not saying that funny, I'm saying that honestly, because I'm in the age group that they didn't test. Autistic, just because I'm not autistic doesn't mean I'm not coming to your business with issues. We all have issues. So I think we need to be more understanding and accepting. And when we get to that point, people like Chris are not going to have to get up every morning and hope that people understand where he's coming from. He's going to know they know where he's coming from.
That was great, ma'am. Your Facebook Live was really insightful, and I hope all our audiences loved your Facebook Live. And thank you so much for coming on board and discussing the different opportunities for autistic adults. So it was an amazing opportunity for everyone to listen to your valuable insights. So thank you so much, ma'am. And thank you so much to all the lovely audiences who came and joined this amazing live and made it interactive. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me. And if anybody needs me, you can reach me at Awesomeism Mom or teamawesomeism.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.